Are you a fan of pro wrestling, comedy, and combat sports? Then we have the podcast for you because we cover that and much, much more.
Do you like to debate with your friends? Do we have the perfect segment for you? It's the 531, where we take any given subject, break it down to a top 5. From there, we debate it down to 3, and then into that number 1 spot.
If you want to get a hold of us, find us on our social medias. Search Working Fans Podcast on any major social media platform. And if you want to find the podcast, search for us on any major podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
Working Fans Podcast. We put in the work so you don't have to.
Everybody, welcome to the Working Fans Comedycast, episode 45. Joe, suck one if you thought you were going to answer before me.
I thought we needed somebody to take the reins. Dave's a little tired today. He's, as you guys know, we have day jobs, and Dave's really most in the thick of it with the Christmas season this year. Bread Wars. And to be able to record this weekend and go to his girlfriend's nursing graduation, he had to overload a couple days. So.
And a Christmas party with my friends, because you know what? They've been doing this for like 15 years. And fuck them. I'll be there. And if you're listening to this, that's right. Fuck you. I'm there. Marissa, you're a great girl. I'm just kidding. Randy, thank you for contributing to the list, especially to this show. I love you guys so much, but yeah, I'm just overtired right now. Easter egg for you if you listen to this later.
Now, we're talking sketch comedy shows this week, and we had originally gotten these lists so long ago. And it was when the Comedycast was kind of in transition. And I thought we were going to be able to do like a bigger, deeper episode on this because I really like sketch comedy.
Right.
But we learned our limitations, and that's why we're kind of
we ain't shit.
That's why we're changing up our format in the new year, because like anytime we've done anything with this podcast, we really want to make it sustainable and make it something we can bring out each week. Now, I'm going to start off hot and heavy. I'm going to give you my list of sketch comedy shows first. I've got SNL, Sctv, Chappelle Show, In Living Color, The State, and I went Kids in the Hall with a number 6. And Jake Rule, I'm going to give you a 7, Monty Python's Flying Circus.
All right. Why don't you tell me a little about Sctv?
Sctv, that was out of Toronto, Second City TV. That's where Joe Flaherty came from, Dave Thomas, Rick Moranis, a lot of good comedians. And it was like, I always thought of it as SNL, but better. It was funny. It was almost like the whole story behind it is it's this almost like independent channel where all these different shows come up on it. And it's a really good concept. 4 seasons, hilarious.
You answered my question. 4 seasons. Okay. So,
and the famous thing that you would have seen from it is the Strange Brew movie featuring Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas as the Mackenzie brothers who drink beer. Not the AJ Strange Brew movie, which is going to get filmed someday, but he just hasn't shown up on set yet.
I don't want to sound ignorant, but Dave Thomas, like the Wendy's guy?
No, he was... Do you remember the TV show Grace Under Fire from the 90s? You remember the fat, dumpy like neighbor that was friends with her? That's Dave Thomas.
I do kind of remember there being a Dave Thomas. I did not remember that show though.
If you remember the Ed Grimley character from SNL, I believe he came from Sctv as well.
You know what's interesting though is like, SNL. How many seasons are we doing now on that? 30?
There was what?
Too many.
SNL?
Yeah. How many seasons?
They got to be in their 30th now.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing about a show, like you mentioned SCTV, you know, we're really funny. But I would say the challenge is just being able to be that funny season after season, right?
And they had an inventive way of doing it, of having this fake channel that all these different shows popped up on, and a lot of good characters on it. People that went on to become big stars.
Okay, real quick question. I don't know if anyone's even going to have this on their list. What was the sketch comedy show that the guy who played Kramer was on? You know what I'm talking about?
That was Friday.
It was Friday.
Or, yeah, it was Fridays.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah, I knew
because it
on.
was Andy Kaufman was on it, and there was a scene depicted in Man on the Moon.
Right.
I want to say Larry David was on that show for a short time as well.
Did Kaufman get into a fight with somebody on that show?
I think it was Kramer. I think it was Michael
Kramer?
Richard. Yeah.
Michael Richard had that breakdown years later doing stand-up comedy, saying the N-word too, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did he say, Dave?
I wasn't gonna say it, but I know.
Breakdown?
He had a breakdown. Yeah, he started yelling at the theater. He was in like a comedy club, and he just yelled at somebody who was heckling him, who might have been.
I think they were on their phone in the front row, and if I had to put my money down, they were black.
Oh yeah, he definitely said the N-word over and over again, and yeah, he fucked.
It might be funnier if they weren't.
They weren't. Yeah. Hey, all right. Why don't you give me another list because you have more lists than me this week.
Another list. I got one from friend Eric Lozier. He's got Mad TV, Chappelle Show, SNL, Key and Peele, and The State.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Eric Lozier. He's a good person.
Yeah, part of that Better Value crew. I almost said Stop and Shop crew, but he don't fuck with Stop and Shop.
No. He's a good guy, man. I mean, he might be Wiener cousins or something. All right. Anyway.
Sorry, Eric.
I'm just kidding, Eric. I don't know who you've been with. None of my business.
We'll figure that out off air. I think.
I mean, maybe though. You won't give me a list. I can tell you.
We're not gonna air shit out.
Hey, what's up, Eric? So we got Jake St. John, author, friend of the show. He's got The State, Chappelle Show, SNL, Kids in the Hall, and In Living Color. Now, I'm going to guess, I'm trying to remember, but In Living Color is probably the only show that actually had, like, dancing girls out of all the sketch comedy shows, at least on this list.
Yes,
I can't think of anyone. Anyway.
I remember that House of Buggin' was another show that was on Fox. That was John Leguizamo. I feel like they might have dancing girls, but I don't remember the show that well.
That sounds...
In Living Color had a different feel though, because they had the DJ, and there was always like a music break with the Fly Girls in there.
Given the time period,
Jennifer Lopez was one of them.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. Jennifer Lopez was one of them, and the girl who helped like produce the other girls too. I can't remember her name.
Was she the one they always mentioned by name?
Yeah, she was in White Men Can't Jump too, I want to say. I can't remember her name at the time.
Rosie Perez?
Yeah, it sounds accurate. Rosie Perez, yeah.
Get at us in the comments. Let us know. That was just off the top of
I think that was really good. Rosie Perez. And yeah, that sounds like John Leguizamo. That sounds like somebody almost had like, hey, why don't we have a Spanish version of In Living Color?
Hey, we got the blacks. Let's get the Hispanics.
That's what that sounds like to me.
I would like to see when House of Buggin' came out in relation to In Living Color.
Yeah.
I liked them both. I was a big John Leguizamo fan, even though that lasted not as long as it should have.
Well, we get another list. Come on. Professionalism. I
got Strife bringing chaos to us. He's got SNL, Kids in the Hall, Key and Peele, Chappelle Show, and The State.
So I feel like when people are mentioning SNL, it's been on for so long. Like, there should be a time period you should mention with SNL.
Yeah, because for me, it's easily early SNL. I'd say the first 5 seasons, because that's when it still had that fun 70s vibe where you'd get the social commentary, sketches, and then you'd also get like the good musical guests.
Yeah, it went through a long gap, I feel like, of not being funny at all. And then it's made a comeback recently.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know if you like the early cast, if you like the David Spade, Chris Farley years, if you're maybe the Will Ferrell, Tracy Morgan years. When we did the SNL cast members a while ago, didn't we have a couple of your friends that were amazed we didn't know some of the newer people?
Right. There's some people I know, I would say Randy and Marissa too, who have...
And there were more female names, which... SNL has always had like maybe one good female out of like a cast of a lot of men. So they've definitely changed that in recent years where there are more female stars.
Absolutely. Now, why don't you give me another list there?
All right. Jesse from New Hampshire, friend of the show, has Chappelle Show, SNL. Whose Line Is It Anyway? Check It Out with Dr. Steve, something I can't read my own writing, and The Benny Hill Show. Benny Hill. I did not expect that out of Jesse. and whatever check it out is. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know the last part of that, so I can't ask you. But Benny Hill, this was a show I would watch sometimes late at night because every once in a while they would just show some girls like in their bra and panties and stuff like that. And I was like a 12-year-old adolescent who was like, "Oh shit, Benny Hill's coming on. This might be good." And
check it out with Dr. Steve Bruhl.
And God, I thought you were gonna say Steve Bruhl, but I was like, that's from the other show there. He was part of like one of the with Tim and David. Tim and Eric Awesome Show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's John C. Reilly.
Yeah. I do that. I didn't know he had his own like sketch comedy show. That's pretty cool.
And Benny Hill is famous for that Yakety Sax song, the song that plays when like he's running around the thing, getting chased.
All right.
Now, Jason Gross, he's another day one listener. Dave, you can hold on. I'm not going to
cut off Gross.
I'm not going to let you cut off Jason Gross because he's got Mad TV, Whose Line Is It Anyway, SNL, In Living Color, and Chappelle Show.
All right. We're getting a lot of Chappelle Show early on. I'm happy about that.
A lot of Chappelle Show, a lot of SNL. After that, it's like a weird mix of The State, Key and Peele. That's really it. A couple In Living Colors.
I'm gonna dump my list in here.
Oh shit!
I got Monty Python's Flying Circus, all that, which I don't know if that'll be on a lot of lists. That was definitely my time period as a youngster. So then I have Whose Line Is It Anyway? I used to watch that show with my mom every week. Yeah, throwback. Shout out to my mom. In Living Color, and then Chappelle Show.
Whose Line Is It Anyway? That was interesting because you knew they were always coming up with it each week. And to see it as a competition made it like a fun spin on things.
Was there a thing with Keel and Peele where it was like grape soda?
Oh.
No. Are you thinking of Keenan and Kel with the orange soda?
That's it. Thank you. Not my time period.
I was going to ask, how'd you get those guys confused, Dave?
I don't know. I just thought it was a show. All right. Anyway.
Yeah. Kel loves orange soda.
Good for him. Not my show. 90s. I'm a little old. I'm old.
Dave, breaking news. I got a list from a fellow podcaster, Jason D'Agostino from the Not Another Sports podcast. And he's got SNL, Mad TV, In Living Color, Kids in the Hall, and SCTV.
Thank you, Jason. I got Scott from Voluntown.
Nice.
He might have another alias there too. We don't know. He's got Monty Python's Flying Circus, The Kids in the Hall, In Living Color, SCTV, and The State.
Solid list. The State was good. That had Michael Ian Black. It had a lot of guys that you've seen go on in other shows.
When was that on? I don't know about The State.
That was like the early 90s. They had the sketch, I Want to Dip My Balls in it.
You took it from me. Yeah, that's what I remembered. Yeah.
That was the biggest one.
Hey, I want to dip my balls in it.
And then there was the Pope. There was, what was it? Captain Jack.
That's Sparrow.
No. It was, I can't remember. It was,
Fuck you, Dave.
It was a Michael Ian Black character. I haven't watched it in a while, but it's hilarious.
Yeah,
I definitely recommend that for anybody that's a fan of sketch comedy.
Where's the rum?
Yep. Now, Mike Phillips has the next list. He's got SCTV. He's got SNL from 86 to 93.
Thank you, Mike.
Mad TV, Kids in the Hall, and In Living Color, 90 to 93. Did they have a fall off?
Mad TV. I feel like we should have heard that more. I want to give you two lists in a row too, actually, because Randy Oscar came at me this week with a friend. Yes, AJ, he has a friend. Calm down. Randy's getting tired of your shit.
We cut that out of the episode, so nobody ever heard that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Randy, I got your back. Fuck AJ. All right. We got
AJ. That was a bitch to edit. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah. Also, the time I said your real name on the other podcast.
Cut that out too.
Yeah, I know. I listened to it over the weekend. It was live the first time. Only one person knows about it. Shout out to Victoria or whoever that was. Anyway, Randy Oscar's got Mad TV, In Living Color, Saturday Night Live, The Chris Rock Show, and The Ben Stiller Show. That's pretty cool.
Interesting choices. I'll leave it at that.
Anthony Laterra's list. This is a friend of Randy's. He's got Mad TV, In Living Color, SNL, Chappelle Show, and Keel and Peele. I'm trying to remember Oh no, that wasn't. There was a Alex Winter, I believe. I think he's the co-star of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yes, he was.
He had a show called the Alex Winter Show. I want to say too, unless he was a character on Ben Stiller, but there was something to do with him and a character who had lockjaw at one point and stuff too, and like he definitely had comedy. Don't pay attention to the sound. Sound professional.
All right, now the next list, Dave, check your messages. Kevin Dignam's got our next list. He's got Mad TV, SNL, Kids in the Hall, In Living Color, and SCTV.
So as far as Mad TV, I thought that they had a few good sketches, but mostly they were not very good. What do you guys think on that?
Mad TV early on, I really liked, but I didn't watch it after the first couple seasons because to me, it almost kind of like it hit a point where I'm like, it's not as tune in worthy. They might have lost a couple people, gained a couple people. I might have just tuned out.
I remember the Stewart guy or whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
A little small kid. Yeah. All right, let me read you a couple here. I got this off the AJ and Dave account on Facebook. These are just some comments people sent us. AJ Capuccio. I'm sure I'm saying that name right. Mr. Show, all that. And WKUK. I believe that's the whitest kids you know, which I remember that they had this bit where it was like Abe Lincoln was in the theater and Abe was heckling somebody. And it was supposed to be like the real history of like why Abe was killed. And like they were watching Hamlet and suddenly like Hamlet was turning into a zombie. And you just hear Lincoln like, Hamlet, look out. And like this guy's like, Mr. President, please. And like, what you say, string me? You skinny fat motherfucker. What you say to me? And then like basically the guy's like trying to calm down. And his wife or girlfriend was like, calm down. That's our president. He's like, wow, he's ruining Hamlet. And they're like, listen to the woman, John. Listen to the woman. So I was just a big fan of that. You want to add something to that?
That's my wife's favorite sketch too. She walks around the house all day going, now you fucked up. Now you have fucked up. Yeah. You have fucked up now.
That's also, I said that to that girl back in the day when we were living together. The one I talked about in the last podcast for you fans that follow that ended up with a real bad breakup. Go back and listen if you
check out our TikTok for the
check that out.
Yeah. Now Seth Rabin, he's got Mad TV. Mark Stensland, he's got my resume smells like Oprah taking alcoholic burst shit, dried up analog, digitally misinterpreted. And then he has a basically a little gif of Beavis and Butthead. So I'm thinking that's from Beavis and Butthead. And then finally from this account, we have Raul Perez, Boomer Humor, Whose Line? ... I'm guessing that's anyway.
Now, Albert Bettis has Mr. Show with Bob and Dave, SCTV, Monty Python's Flying Circus, Chappelle Show, SNL from 86 to 93 is the best, and an honorable mention for In Living Color.
We've had a lot of Chappelle Show, obviously, but SCTV also. We've had a lot of.
Yeah, that's holding good, and I'm happy to see that, being a fan of it. I feel like it's so underground that not a lot of people might be familiar with it.
Before I get to my final list, I'm going to give my list because I forgot to give one. I forgot to write it down at least anyway. So for me, I definitely would have to include SNL just because of the early 70s stuff, like with Eddie Murphy and the hot tub and Gumby and all that shit and Buckwheat, where he's looking at
Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Yeah, looking for Puff. Yeah, all good shit. To me, In Living Color kind of does fall under my time period. Jim Carrey, Damon Wayans is Homie the Clown, all good stuff. So that would be like my top two in there. Well, not my top two, but they'd be in there. The Chappelle Show definitely is too good not to be mentioned. I mean, Rick James, bitch, Wayne Brady, bitch. The whole thing is just too good. So those three would make it. Then it gets a little tougher for me. I can't say I follow a ton more sketch comedy shows, but just based off of some of these lists, I would have to say I would say Mad TV would be on there. And then you know what? Even though I didn't watch a ton of it, the Chris Rock show had a very funny bit about having a white friend where he talked about, like, don't bring your black friend. And they did this thing where like you're asking for the license and registration, and you're with your white friend, and it's like, yeah. And then you have your black friend with you, and he just jumps out of the car. What the fuck you want, motherfucker? And it's like, he's like, don't bring don't bring your angry woman either. She might be mad. And like, he gets pulled over, and she immediately is just like, he got weed. And they start beating his ass. So just that would make my top 5, I guess.
Now, next list I got from Kevin Dignam. He's got Mad TV, SNL, Kids in the Hall, In Living Color, Sctv.
All right, sounds good. Then I'm going to just wrap this up on my end here, at least. Randy Miller, who told me, of all these lists you've asked me to make, I've never had a harder time making up my mind on any other question than this one. I have a lot of honorable mentions, to which he never gave me. But my top 5.
So many they escape me.
Yeah. My top 5 is Mad TV. Number 4, Sctv. Number 3, The Kids in the Hall. Number 2, Monty Python's Frying Circus. And the granddaddy of them all, number 1, is SNL.
Nice. Now I'm going to hit you with 4 real quick, and then Chevy will kind of help us determine what made it to that top 3. But Ken Zalewski has Mr. Show, Kids in the Hall, Monty Python, Sctv, and Dave Allen at Large. Kenny Culler has Chappelle Show, Whose Line Is It Anyway, Kids in the Hall, Mad TV. Jim Vensky has The Carol Burnett Show, The Benny Hill Show, Kids in the Hall, In Living Color, and Chappelle Show. And last but not least, AJ Strangebrew has Sctv, In Living Color, SNL, The Early Years, New Year's Suck, Mad TV, and The Carol Burnett Show.
Glad you got his list. Okay, Chappelle Show has to be in the top. I don't know. What else did you
SNL.
SNL definitely, I think, has to be up there too.
And it's kind of what made it to that 3rd spot. There were a lot that were mentioned. I heard a lot of Sctv.
I was thinking Sctv as well.
Okay. Oh, another one I could think
In Living Color was also up there.
In Living Color,
yeah.
It's tough because whatever it's going to be, if it's In Living Color, if it's Sctv, you got SNL versus Chappelle Show, and that's a heavy hitter. Like, I'm a huge Sctv fan.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I enjoy it, as much as I think everybody should check it out, to me, it's Chappelle Show. Even because there's a lot less time frame of it.
Right.
And, SNL had some really good seasons, but they also put out some really bad ones.
So I'm fucking biased. I think Chappelle Show is the greatest thing of all time. But I will just put up a little bit of argument here. I mean, although SNL had a lot of stinkers, you're going to have a lot of stinkers when you're having that many seasons. It's 30 seasons, whatever they're at now. And Dave Chappelle had, 2.5? Right?
Actually, they got to be almost over 40 now because they were going in the late 70s.
Right.
I would say 77. So
okay. So again, a ton of work here.
And there were years that they ran the show without Lorne Michaels, so you got that dip.
Yeah.
You also have years where you've got good writers, bad writers, good cast, bad cast.
I'll tell you what, I'll leave it up to Chevy, but I think I love Chappelle's Show better. It doesn't even come close. But to me, if I'm going to be unbiased, I feel just a body of work. And SNL is not only this. Here's the thing. When we talk about pro wrestling, right? If you go up to random people and you're like, AEW, Hangman Page, and maybe they're not wrestling fans. But if you go Hulk Hogan, they're going to go, oh, yeah, Hulk Hogan. Oh, WWF. Oh, yeah. I feel like SNL is kind of that thing.
Yeah, we got one view. We got one vote either way. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Chevy, be the tiebreaker. Why don't you tell us who you think got it this week?
All right, I got to tell you, SNL has been on for a long time, but who's to say that Dave Chappelle couldn't do 40 years of quality content? I think we got to go with him. His show was so fantastic.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with that. I like Dave Chappelle better. Again, he's funnier. I think okay. So we're gonna go with that. But just one more last thing on this argument. Like if I had went up to Randy Miller, I wouldn't be surprised if he forgot that Dave Chappelle was a sketch comedy show because it was funny. It's like I go, oh yeah, fuck, that's great. But I think when people think sketch comedy in terms of a whole, I think that's why people just think SNL. But if you're asking me what my favorite sketch comedy show, it's Chappelle. So there you go.
All right, guys. Well, you heard it here, and we had a pretty good year here. Next week, we'll be doing our year-end wrap-up. And, guys, we'll see you in 2022.
Bye, bitches.